Hello again. Yeah, so immediately after that video about the rattling of ideas, I'm hoping would be a bit more calm and less frantic for another one, which is the one about being brave on the page, but not so brave in life. And I feel like specifically for me, this topic is an important topic. Meaning, I think in the one of the previous videos I said that I regret not being as audacious, as brave, as bright, mm, as daring in life as I wanted to be. I know that at that time I couldn't because of my own fears, limitations, and things that were holding me back. I know that I couldn't do that. I know it's not that simple. I mean, I would have liked to be sitting here and saying, like, oh, I never went for what I really wanted, like people I really liked, or things I really wanted, or roles I really think I deserved, or companies I think they were like above me. I could sit here and say, like, oh, I never went for it because, like, of these people or of these things, or, but at the time, I just wasn't brave enough. And I don't think I have to hate myself for that, but I limited myself too much. Even now, like I am limiting myself still, but in a bit of a different way. But what I mean is, it has been a consistent thing throughout my life that I limited myself and I kind of guarded myself and I put walls. I feel like we all do that. We all put walls, but I put walls between me and what I wanted very often. Like a wall on which was written, you can't do that, or like you're not good enough to do that, or you are not going to try for that company, they will not take you, you will not try with that person, he's too good for you. Like this is actually an example I wanted to talk about, being brave on the page and not so brave in life, where I guess I wanted to tell you that story that really marked me. And I think I've mentioned that person briefly as well in one of the previous videos, where last year I had a meeting, I met someone who really doesn't know it, but he affected me so deeply. But basically, I met a person, let's say I liked, okay. It always begins like that. I've met a guy. I mean, how many stories begin this way, right? I've met a guy. I mean, and I really, really was taken with him. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. Like, I don't think anything like that ever happened to me before. I got really taken. I got really impressed. I got pulled in. Like I felt something. I don't know. Like that was a very significant moment. The moment of meeting him and like interacting with him. And I can't explain. Like I meet a lot of people. Like I didn't ever tell you that about myself, but I have a whole blog about going on dates and like actually a whole manuscript about going on dates in different cities and like meeting people and relationships and modern world and whatever. But I got very, I don't know, like there was something about him. There was something about him. And I still don't know whether my brain invented it or there was really something there. I I can't say. I don't know. But the thing is, I mean, this is very representative of like what I'm like and what my character used to be like and still is like, where I ended up writing about the date after the date and sending him what I wrote. And I ended up being, I think, much more me and much more honest in what I wrote than actually in real life. Because it happens sometimes, when with people we like, with people we like really, really, really like, but that we can't show our real selves. We can't be vulnerable. We can't be open. We can't admit certain things. We just can't be ourselves. And I felt like I couldn't. I don't know why. It might not even be related to the writing. I don't know. But I felt like I could be very brave on the page. I always could be very brave on the page, much braver than in life. I could say to him all the stuff I wanted to say on the page. I could say to him what I was feeling. I could say to him what I was thinking. I could say to him like what I really, really thought about all of this. I could say to him the points which he impressed me and affected me. I could be honest. And in life I just couldn't. I I don't know. And I'm still kind of sitting here and feeling like a lot of complicated emotions. And I wrote about it. I wrote about that date in the book later on. I wrote about it in that manuscript I was talking about in the previous videos that was written very fast and like very frantically. And I made that a storyline and I developed it later on and I made art out of it, out of my failure to engage, I suppose, out of the whole situation. Because like what happened afterwards, after I sent what I wrote, I was too chicken shit to actually look at his answer. And I was too chicken shit to, I don't know, to be rejected, I suppose. Because I kind of knew that he was going to reject me. I kind of knew that he was not taken with me as I was with him. I kind of knew that all of this thing was not going anywhere, at least not from his side. I mean, maybe I'm presumptuous, maybe I'm making assumptions here, but when you're that vulnerable, when you're brave on the page, and when you're letting the other person know what you think and what you feel and who you are, because I kind of let him know who I am. I think who I really am. The rejection afterwards feels so much more potent and so much more painful. That's why maybe I was not ever that brave in life, because when you go for the things you really want and you get rejected and you get declined and you get a no and no and no and no. No, I don't like you that much. No, you are too fat. No, you are too intelligent. No, you are not thin enough. No, you are not the right nationality. No, your accent is weird. No, like, I don't want to be with you. No, I don't want to sleep with you. No, I don't want to date you. Like, he didn't say any of that shit, but I've, you know, that's why it's so hard to go after what you want, I think. Because when you go there and the stakes are that high and you get a no, I mean, of course it's easier to be brave on the page, no? Of course it's easier to be brave when you're sitting on your own like couch or on your own floor. And when you're sitting like I'm sitting right now and being like brave, whatever. But like when you're facing something or someone you really want, when you're facing something or someone you really like, when you're facing an opportunity that you've been dreaming about, or that man that you thought you would never fucking arrive, or when you're facing someone whom you like that much, of course you cannot be brave. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could. Maybe like you could, and you could be just kind of lay your cards on the table and be like, I really like you. Like, this is who I am. This is what I think. But for some reason, for me, it was always extremely hard to be brave around things I really wanted and to go for things and for people I really wanted. And I wonder if anyone relates to that feeling, to that feeling of like I'm kind of comfortable with some people because like I know they like me and I like them as well, but I'm kind of comfortable with some opportunities which I know I can do and I know it's not that challenging. And I'm kind of comfortable in some environments where the stakes are not that high. I feel like I'm kind of touching on a lot of different things. Like, not all of them are built the same or made the same, but I'm just thinking about that bravery that came after the date but was not there during the date. Because when I think back to that date, I wonder, like, probably the guy doesn't even remember it. Probably the guy's like, if like someone asks him now, like, what the fuck you're talking about? Like, yeah, I met that girl. She was bananas, or like she was this, she was that. But like, probably the guy doesn't even remember any of that shit. But like, when I think back to it, I do remember my behavior, and I do remember the old me and what the fuck I was saying and thinking and whatever. And I do remember me like being so paralyzed with fear and so paralyzed with like, oh god, I like him, I like him, I like him. Oh god, like what the fuck, like what to do. And I remember being so paralyzed and so like, but what, like, that I think I kind of went on the complete defensive mode. Like, can you relate to what I'm saying? Like, when you just completely get into the defense mode and start like being almost aggressive instead of being yourself. When you start being like defending yourself and attacking the other person instead of like being vulnerable. I i i don't know what the fuck got into me. I i was too scared, and I still am. And maybe that's a lesson for me because I still cannot shake that date, and I still cannot shake that person, and I still cannot shake that feeling of being angry at myself also for being so fearful. And on the page I never had that, funnily enough. I never had that feeling of like being angry at myself and being like, you are not honest enough. You are not brave enough. You are not this enough. Like, if I had that feeling, I just rewrote it, or I just redid it, or I just modified it. I worked on it. Like, I went as honest, like, this is another video, but as honest as I can go, as brave as I can go, as like completely close to the edge as I can go. But the things that I could say in writing are the things that I could never say in real life. And I feel like I'm only now entering the period of my life where I can actually begin saying this shit. Not in every situation, not to everyone, but I can begin saying this, what I like was saying in writing. And I feel like it's a big issue because when you say things in writing, but you're not brave enough to say them in real life, how are you supposed to have good relationships? Because, if you're on a date and you're behaving like a mad person, or you're like with friends and you're not, like, someone is annoying you and you can't even say, or like you're with a close person to you, like one of your loved ones, and you can't even say, like, you can only write about it afterwards. How the fuck are you going to fix that relationship? How the hell are you going to be authentic? And this is what the problem was. I feel like, regardless of the fact, did you like me or not, does he remember me or not, whatever, I was not authentic. I was authentic in what I wrote, and I was authentic in letting him know what I think afterwards. I was authentic in my writing. I was myself in there. And this I do not regret. But I was not authentic in the conversation. And I was not authentic in the connection. And I did not show up as a brave cunt, like Florence Given would say. And I regret it. But that's the way it was. Yeah.